Yeah, calisthenics number 12. Yeah. Fly robotics. Bifocals, my only purpose is to feed the locals. I'm spreading love when I see you and gotta approach you. I see the goodness in you, I wouldn't John with you. I know you hustling for your family just to pay the fiscal. I see the God up in you, He bless your physical. While we navigating problems, the world is abysmal. Skip the one up, let's get it to the center. Your house is big as mine, we can always help each other. Affirmation smother, it ain't even cost me a dime to uplift my brother.
What's happening, y'all? Welcome back to Vulnerability is the New Sexy, and we dive into something real today. I see some of y'all already in the comments. You know, I personally, it's been sitting heavy with me, a lot of this stuff. You know, I get really anxious, and the world gets really heavy on me when I see, you know, the Black community in trouble, straight up. And the conversation we're about to have today is supposed to be one for uplifting, but I recently saw a clip of Kool Moe Dee basically saying something that stuck with me, and I'm gonna show y'all that clip in a minute. But he basically called the drug dealer the first sellout in the Black community, and it prompted me to want to have a conversation about it. And then I saw other clips of Black celebrities, you know, like openly praising movements and ideologies that kind of go against our own. And it made me wonder, like, who is worse, man? Like, I mean, and some of y'all might feel like it don't matter, but it's a conversation, it's a talking point. Let's have a conversation. You know, there's drug dealers who brought destruction to the neighborhoods, but he was just trying to eat, or the Black celebrity who just profit off of their Blackness until they get to a point where their anti-Blackness is more profitable and they move on to something bigger. You know what I mean? And then I want to talk about, you know, the kind of women that respond to these men, or men that respond to these type of women, you know, clout chasing or just doing whatever they got to do to get close to the money. So today I'm chopping it up with some of my brothers, man. I got Jonathan, I got Q, and I got Walter, and we about to break this down. We about to challenge some of these narratives. You know, I don't know where these brothers stand on none of this, so we may or may not agree on a lot of it. I personally don't know the answer to the question, so I'm just going to talk it out and see kind of where I am at the end of this thing. But just a quick little round table, man. Quick answer. Let me ask y'all first before we get real deep into the conversation, man. What is your gut reaction to that question? Who's doing more harm to the Black community, or do you feel like who's doing? Let's just stay right there. Who's doing more harm to the Black community, the drug dealer or the Black celebrity? And I'm gonna start with you, Walt.
I think the celebrity. I think the Black celebrity. I think our culture is so steeped into pop culture and the way of the world that the celebrities seem to have more influence. A lot of the television, different shows, social media is geared towards Hollywood, celebrities, actresses, singers, you know, these famous people. So their influence is very strong in our community.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very well stated. What about you, Jonathan?
I'm gonna double down, and I mean, at first I was a little torn in between the two because it could really go either way, Joe, and you know it could. But I'm also gonna say the Black celebrity because the Black celebrity understands the influence and they see the followers, and they, you know, they're aware of what they're putting out before they put out, you know, whatever it is they say on social media, or you know, whatever feelings about whoever they're backing, and then they know they know what their response is going to be. Hey, go vote for XYZ. They know some people are going to say, whatever this person says, I take as the gospel. I'm going to rock with that. So yeah, my answer is the Black celebrity.
Yeah, you saying it's more awareness to what they're doing as opposed to what the drug dealer's doing. Most times, what we figure out a necessity, right? What about you, Q?
Man, I'm tripling down, bro. I'm going with the Black celebrity too, because most of the time they're selling us a pipe dream. And it's really no convoluting on the situation. That once they get their status and their richness, then they'll try to tell you about the defaults and you know the devilish stuff that happens. You know, maybe they don't know themselves, but still they never really give no information about that stuff, and they sell you that pipe dream over that TV for that money. And it's like it be hurting us because, like they said, we always for some reason following them. Like they word is the gospel.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like I said, man, I don't know yet. I'm still processing. I'm not trying to cop out or nothing like that, but I'm really just I want to give a genuine response. So I'm gonna take some time to process it. I just really came up with this topic probably like yesterday or the day before. So I'm still processing it, man. But chat, talk to me, man. Who is it? Is it the drug dealer or is it the black celebrity? These brothers triple down and say it's the black celebrity. I want to hear, get in those chats, get in those comments, and let me know what you think. I want to hear from y'all. In the meantime, while y'all doing that, I'm gonna play this video that inspired the topic. So y'all check this out, and we talk about it on the other side.
For me, the first sellout in the hood is the drug dealer, and people don't look at it that way. And because
expound on that.
the first sellout is a drug dealer because I'm just trying to feed my family is not an answer for you to be able to kill my family. You can't kill my family because you're trying to feed your family. So you're the first sellout, and we co-sign that and be cool. It's like he's just trying to eat. He's not just trying to eat. He's killing your family while he's trying to eat. You're creating a climate that makes black on black the worst thing on the planet. You're killing black people trying to make a living. And the oppressor is absolutely loving that. And I said they love a drug dealer. Your colonizer loves a drug dealer because you're killing your people to feed yourself.
Listen, man, I want to be very clear. I will never approach anything or any man from a place of judgment. And I also want to be clear on the fact that I totally understand that racism and systematic oppression is the number one enemy of the black community. And I don't really argue with anybody on that. And I don't want to go back and forth with anybody on it. But there is a certain level of responsibility that a lot of us have in our own community to kind of get ourselves out of the hole that that oppression and racism put us in. I mean, we're not going to get out by appeasing it. So when you see that clip, I just, for my first question is like, do you agree, man, that the drug dealer was the first sellout, or do you kind of feel like the opposition of what Kool Moe Dee said? He was just doing what he had to do to survive. And I'm gonna start with you, Q.
No, I'm gonna say the first sellout was the Sambo on the TV. A black man wearing blackface, entertaining white folks. Like that's the first sellout. Like as we always say in our community, we didn't bring drugs to this country. I mean, like I don't care if it was if we could still pull oranges off the tree walking, somebody was gonna find a way to sell those oranges off the tree. So yeah, you brought it here. We found the way to get money from it. Yeah,
Yeah.
so no, I don't think that was the first seller. I disagree with him with that, but I do agree with him on most of his points that he like. It definitely destroyed our community. But no, that entertainer shucking and jiving, that's the first sellout right there.
Yeah. Damn, man. I ain't think about that. That happened way before the crack era or the crack epidemic. Sambo was on TV, tap dancing away, bro. Tap dancing away, man. But Walt, man, how much responsibility, man, do you think we should put on the drug dealer versus, just accepting the fact that the government flooded our communities with drugs, man? Like, where did we draw the line at?
I think that's murky water, man, because um I agree with what Kool Moe Dee said is that doesn't give you the right to kill my family to feed your family. So I do understand that, but I do understand the flip side of that, which is like you said, that the communities were intentionally flooded with these substances, knowing full well what was going to happen. You know, so but there's an old saying that when you know better, you do better, and once you make a mistake once, I mean, you can learn from it, or you can continue to make the same mistake. So
Yeah. So, man, that kind of piggybacks a question for me, man. Like Jonathan, we older now. You know what I mean? When in the 90s and the early 2000s,
Yeah.
hey, we was all listening to it, man. We was all moving packs and and mastering the stove and wasn't doing none of that, but we was honoring and uplifting that. Me too.
That's
I
true.
was in
That's
it.
true.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that's true.
Paid in Full, man. I can't go 2 months in a row without watching Paid in Full. I still watch
Classic.
it right now. So I mean, I guess I'm asking, like, has the image of the drug dealer changed over time? is the drug dealers still influencing the community the way they were back? Because hey, when I was in school, man, it was some guys dealing drugs. They was coming to school wearing Versace shirts, bro, in high school.
Fly.
Yeah, man, they was the ones getting all the girls. So is that, you think that's happening today still, man? Like the drug dealers still influencing us like they did back in the day?
So I think we got to be careful with it, just because, like, I think the drug dealer still does have influence because even still, I mean, even still, we still hear it in our music. Like, I mean, you can pop in a Rick Ross anything, and you're still gonna hear a little bit of that, right? And some other artists the same. But I'm also gonna come back to the entertainer part because yes, Rick Ross still is, he's still talking about drugs, rapping about drugs, but at the same time, you got businesses. Talk more about that, right? Talk more about that, and let us see more of that side versus the drugs. Because yeah, I mean, the drugs are there, and the drugs are going to be there. But at the same time, we don't have to glorify that image. You see Rick Ross with the shirt off, with all the chains. All that's not rap money. Come on, let's be serious. So I think we like the people who, if they're drug dealers and they're visible, like now's the time to where if that's what you're doing, don't try to put the next generation on that.
Yeah.
If you know better, do better. And if you know the consequences, educate them what the consequences are so they don't have to go that same path and they can have a brighter future.
Yeah, you're right, man. And that's a very good example you brought up, man. It's really like when you talk about like just Rick Ross in himself, like, okay, he took a powerful drug dealer's name and flipped it into a rap persona.
Yeah.
He's not, we all kind of know his background at this point. He's not of that life for real. You know what I mean? So he's really playing a character. And then he got his riches and didn't back off the character. He still stayed on the character. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I mean, does he have some responsibility, man? And this is a rap culture question, Q. So I'm coming to you, the rapper. Rap culture glorified the drug dealer, like I was talking, man. So I don't know, man. I know we just kind of talked about Rick Ross, man, but how many of them is it just a reflection of reality, or guys putting on a show from your perspective?
Most of the time it's the perpetuation of that the luxury lifestyle. Like, we all know, most of us who grew up like deep in the mud in the hood, one of the first most successful people we seen, especially if you come from a broken household, was probably the guy that was on the corner that you knew you walked past every day going to school, and he had it all, and it came from, selling poison to our community. You know what I'm saying? So really, it's really the entertainers perpetuating that image, like, oh, look at me, I'm the cool guy, I'm the one who got the money, and yeah, I sold drugs or whatever. But really, it's not a cool thing to do at all. But the way we like he just said, the way we glorify it and put that thing on a pedestal. Like they got all the girls, they had the coolest club venues, they had the coolest parties. So it's the perpetuation of it that, you know make all rappers want to do that in some form. Like, yeah, I sold drugs, but you probably didn't sell nothing, or you messed up a little pack. Somebody gave you a 5-piece and you messed that up, but now you're a drug dealer somehow. And oh yeah, and because most people, I'm gonna say 2% of people get rich off selling drugs. It's not lucrative as people think. But the perpetuation of it, oh yeah, he sell drugs, or he sell weed, or he sell pills, that makes people intrigued. Like, oh, okay, he a hustler.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna stay with you, Q, for a second, man, because as you was talking, I started thinking now about the other side of that, man. Like, first time you from Chicago, so you definitely finna get this question. You know what I mean? First time I heard College Dropout, man, I damn near shed a tear, man. You know what I mean? And then years later, fast forward years later, the same man that did that, is standing up often against his own community, man. So, man, I guess I just kind of want you to comment on that, man. You being from Chicago and being a rapper, man, how you feel about that level of celebrity just kind of flip? I thought he was saving us, man, and he flipped on us.
Yeah, man, money change you, man. And You know, that's why I was saying in the beginning, like these entertainers, they'll get into it, and you know they try to do the right thing, but then the evil start flooding them, and then they won't hand out that information until they get done wrong. And that's, I think, what's happening to Kanye. Like he 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 got that information late. He tried to give it out, but he don't know how to do it right because he really not from that cloth no more. He ain't spending no time with the community. He not going back home. Not messing with his family. He not doing none of that. So it's like, you know, speaking on him specifically, he ain't talking about drugs or nothing, but that entertainer is in him. He always got to put on the show.
Right.
And you know, and that it goes back to the people who always, you know, on every song they talking about drugs. Like, for instance, not to keep going on, but for instance, Future from here in Georgia. The man talk about drugs and doing drugs and all of his songs, and then he'd go on an interview and tell you, I don't even do drugs. This is just a thing to talk about because this is what sells.
Yeah,
So
100%.
like you perpetuate that image and you really feeding us poison.
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%. Hey, Mackie, not too much on me, man. Yeah, I was in the house as a kid, man. I didn't get so every time all my whole outside life was through the movies, bro. I was kind of a nerd, man, growing up, man. So yeah, I lived through them. I live a little bit through them. Not too much on me, but Paid in Full was entertaining, man. You don't like Paid in Full? I can't lie about that, man. Plus, it was a true story, man. I mean, for the most part. So, you know, hey, not too much on me, Mackie. Don't do that, bro. Yeah, let's talk about these black celebrities, you know, since I kind of got Q going on it. We talking about rappers, athletes, influencers. I mean, we've seen them all, man, and they align themselves with these anti-black narratives, man, especially when we need them the most because they got the loudest mics. And we don't have no mic, man. We just be, you know what I'm saying? We can only talk to our friends and whatnot, or little platforms like this. You know what I mean? I don't want to minimize what I'm doing because it's a big platform, but you know what I'm saying. So they push, you know, some of them push the harmful stereotypes and, you know, promote messages that keep us, you know, divided, man. So I want to play this clip from Wayne, man, because you know, growing up, people love Wayne, bro. And you know, he just said some things in the recent history that kind of set us back. So I wanna play that and then we talk about it on the other side.
What's your thought on Black Lives Matter?
What is it? What do you mean?
The idea is that there's this movement called Black Lives Matter, thinking that the rest of America didn't seem to understand that Black Lives Matter.
It just sounds weird. I didn't know that you put a name on. It's not a name. It's not whatever. It's somebody got shot by police for a reason. I am a young black rich. If that don't let you know that America understands black matter these days, I don't know what it is. That man white, he filming me. I don't know what you mean, man. Don't come at me with that dumb, man. My life matters. Especially to my...
Do you feel, though, connected to...
I feel connected to a damn thing that ain't got nothing to do with me. If you do, you crazy. You, not the camera. You. Feeling connected to something that ain't got nothing to do with you. If it ain't got nothing to do with me, I ain't connected to it.
Walt, man, is he have a responsibility to say something different, or is that just entertainment? A man making his bread. What do we say to that, Walt?
Hey man, I don't know.
Came to you
Because
from New Orleans, so I can't to you for the New Orleans rap.
right. But I say I don't know because it's unnecessary to make his bread, as you said. Like he doesn't have to be that extreme of a character if that's an act. It's not. He doesn't have to be that extreme, you know. He's a black person living in America, whatever his financial bracket is, it doesn't matter. The fact that black men die at an unproportionately large rate in comparison to the rest of the world is a thing. So to say that as a young black person who is also um, has a huge influence in the communities with many age groups, like across age groups, it's not just kids we talking about with Wayne. Like it's adults who allow him to influence their lives. So for him to say that on such a in a public stage like that is just it's crazy. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I agree, man. But
Hold
Johnny, I want to ask. Every time I see something like this, man, I feel away, man. I actually feel pain, and I want to ask you, man. When celebrities do this type of stuff, they just co-sign anti-Blackness, man. Like, first, how does it make you feel? And second, man, from your opinion, how much damage does it do to the Black community?
I mean, it's shocking just to hear him like go that hard on the point. I mean, it's one thing, okay, what is Black Lives Matter? She explains it, and then they move on. They go to another question, you know, because he's aware enough to know that Black men are getting killed by police officers. He has that information. He understands that, and that could be an opportunity for him just to speak up and just talk about like what that means to the rest of the population, because his tax bracket is he's in a very small percentage of not even just, you know, Black men or Black Americans, but people just with, you know, where he is financially. So yes, he's going to be removed from the masses. So understanding that, like you don't have to go that hard there. But then the other part is like, I mean, he knows somebody, he probably knows somebody personally who's either been in an altercation with an officer or somebody that's lost their life from an officer, right? So and I mean that's based on the percentages, right? Well, based on the percentages, you know, more than likely he knows somebody or is connected to somebody in that way. But I don't think you got to go that hard. And I mean, for me being a Black man, it's just like for you to have that influence, just utilize some of it like better, right? I mean, even if it's not you vocally speaking out, right? Even if it's not you vocally speaking out and you're rich, we know you're rich, great. Put like you can support a different way.
Yeah,
You could give to a charity. He could even show up at an event that you know that supports the community. Don't give him a microphone unless he's gonna rap, but he could show up at this event, and I think that could do more good than what he just did in that interview. I think that's doing a lot more damage than good, because then somebody white is gonna see that, or somebody of another that identifies with another race and be like, Lil Wayne don't care about his people, so why should I?
yeah. That's a big blow, man. That's a big blow. It's damaging every time, bro. Like every single time, because it feels. First of all, what it feels like to, you know, somebody just trying to live their everyday life out here. You know, I'm talking about, you know, from my personal experience, what it feels like is damaging, bro. That weighs me down to the point where I have to, you know, therapize myself to get on with my day. Like, I mean, that might sound crazy to say, but man, sometimes these little, man, I'm like, man, why are we doing this, bro? We cannot sustain these type of hits from the inside. But Q, man, do you think Black celebrities owe us anything, or I mean, should they just be able to move how they want and get their money?
Nah, yeah, I think they really is a personal thing, is individual stuff, because you know, yeah, that person worked hard for that spot they got. They wrote the music, they was in that studio all the time, and it's free speech, and you could definitely say what you want to. You don't have to be all political all the time. But I think as like for us as Black men, for sure, and Black women also, and I'm speaking definitely just for Black people, and I'm not speaking for us, but I'm speaking about us. Like I feel like it's in our DNA to have an obligation to pay forward educational, you know, stuff, and talk about plights and how to overcome them, and not gatekeep how you got successful. I think it should be an obligation of a Black person. It don't have to be, and you ain't got to. You can't be selfish if you want, or you might not be selfish and you just don't want to do it because you don't want to mess up your bread. But I think if you have a platform, you have an obligation as a Black person to pay forward some type of education you got within any system.
Yeah, yeah, you're right, bro. I agree with you on that too. But and before I was about to move on somewhere, but I got since all three of y'all kind of went down on the celebrity lane, I kind of want y'all to, you know, each give a brief response to this comment, man. Like, you know, It's very factual. Generations have been lost due to the drug push, and communities have yet to recover. We talking about generations that have been wiped out due to, you know, the epidemic. So, you know, what's y'all thought on that, man? You still don't change your mind? That change your mind, Walt, on your answer from the beginning?
Hey man, we all have personal experience with that, with
Yeah, for
drugs
sure.
of touching
Understood.
our families at different levels. That touched me personally. And it was a direct result of influence growing up. I think
Yeah.
about the television show Snowfall. It highlighted everything that really happened in the Black community, things that we saw with our own two eyes happening next door or at our grandmother's house, or so that's definitely an influence, in the community, as far as that's media, that's what's being pumped into the brains of the people. Um, but again, like we started off saying, man, those celebrities are powerful. Like their influence is powerful. I
Mhm.
don't know. I think
Yeah.
we could probably talk about this subject for 2 or 3 shows,
That's what I'm
honestly.
saying.
So
I was saying, did that have any influence over your response, Jonathan?
I mean, I see it, we know it, we understand it, but still at the same time, uh, the person as as an entertainer or whomever, they built up this influence, right?
Yeah.
So I feel that there's more responsibility there because these people have followed them, et cetera, et cetera. And then in terms of the drug, just like what you alluded to a little bit earlier, I mean, some people, they might get it and pass it, but they're not the one that like created it, right? They're not the one at home really. I mean, yeah, people talk about putting it in the stove and all that, but the majority, they ain't at home cooking it up. They getting it from somewhere else. It's just like when you might have, I don't know about y'all, but if you ever had like a rodent or like some roaches at the house, you lay down that, that powder, and then they get it and then they take it back.
To the community. Yeah.
So I mean, I respect the comment, but I think at the same time, I think celebrity have a little bit more responsibility just based on what they built with the people
Yeah.
that are around them.
But Q, man, something Walter just said got me want you. I got most of us are like 6 degrees of separation or less from either a dope fiend or a dope dealer. So are
Mm.
we like, because it's so normal that we're not really feeling it the way that because we not nowhere close to a lot of us are really that close to Black celebrities and their lifestyle. So we look at it like that, it's so far away. But this is right in front of us, and it's just a normal situation. So we're not putting the same amount of weight on it as we would the Black celebrity influence, man. What do you think about that, bro?
Yeah, man, he's right, and you right too. Like, yeah, like most of us had a dope fiend in the crib, like or our grandma crib. Like, yeah, a couple of my great uncles, even Toya, a couple of her uncles, they was strung out on dope. They've changed now, but yeah, like it's so close to us that we know for sure we feel the harms from that, right? And
Mhm.
we know how to discern, like, oh yeah, I would never touch that. It's like it's kind of like it's two on your shoulder. Like, I might sell it, get a little money, but I ain't using it. And then some people's like, oh, I'm never gonna sell it at all because I seen what it did to communities, right? I think it's more of, like I was saying before, the perpetuation of the whole image, because you you are now in a community, a Black community, a Black state, where we are downplaying men who have 9 to 5s for somebody who is hustling, and now they're the greater person, but the hardworking man, he gets put down because he's just working. He ain't out here, overselling, poison.
For sure.
So that's, yeah, so it's like, yeah, it's that perpetuation of the whole thing. Yeah, we know it's bad, and most of us, 90% of us, is not finna sell it or smoke it in our community.
Yeah.
And like Kool Moe Dee said, the media love that. Your
Mhm.
colonizer love to see that, because that's what they gonna blast. Like Raising Canaan. It's a whole fictional story about, straight drugs, and like it's glorified. Like,
for drug
one of the girls wearing polo, everybody's wearing Gucci in the clubs and everything. Like, it's not really showing the destroying of the communities at all. So they selling drugs, but if you notice on the show, they never really show the dope fiends.
Yeah,
They never really showed the ran down communities. They never really showed the overdoses and stuff like that. So the media gonna love to do that because we as our people, that's what we want to perpetuate. We want to perpetuate that luxury lifestyle to and downplay the hardworking man, and that's where we messed up at. So yeah, drug dealing is very bad, but we got to change within ourselves to know, like, man, no, this man go to work. He go do therapy for 6 hours a day, teaching people how to live their lives. And this person is in construction. Like, those the heroes, not this dude that got a Benz with 22-inch rims and he wake up to $400-$500 every minute. Like, that's not a real lifestyle. That's not reality.
Yeah, yeah. That makes me think about, and I don't want to get in no deep conversations about hoop or nothing like that, but just the fact that the media, and I've seen in person how triggered white people become when you start talking about LeBron. And when you remove just all the basketball stuff, just look at him as a man, what he's been able to accomplish as a man. And you like, man, what are we really criticizing here, man? Like, beyond being okay, you want to talk about it. That's one thing you talk about is hoop and all that stuff, but when you criticize he's a man, that's what I really get confused about, man. And I saw this comment universe, and I'm telling you, man, you right. You right. We gotta stop supporting them if they're not on code. It's hard, because some of our favorites. If you was alive in the '90s, you know how much Snoop mean to Snoop means a lot to people. And he went out there and he got off code, man. That hurt, bro. That really hurt. That messed me up for a couple of days, man. I'm like, man, nah, Snoop. Does this mean I can't, listen to Gin and Juice no more? What are we doing? What are we doing, Snoop?
When we think about the content of all of his greatest songs, though, it's exactly what we're talking about tonight, man. Like every song,
Yeah,
the
man.
Chronic, Gin and Juice, like all he's talking about is,
Yeah, you're right,
it's
man.
glorifying drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
Oh man.
If you're critical
Sex,
right there,
drugs,
right?
and rock and
Let's
roll.
fall into them traps, right? I mean, we have an honest conversation, man. We fall into them traps, man. Snoop was not leading us in the right direction.
Ever, bro. Like ever.
Yeah, man. Yeah. What about this stuff what Mike's saying, man? Well, let me tip you this, man. Drug dealers, some of these guys is carrying the community. So is it cool if you feeding the community turkeys, meanwhile you destroying them in the background and had the rest of the community doing a dope fiend lean?
Hey man, murder is murder. No matter how you slice it.
Yeah.
That's that, man. I mean, sure, you can say, oh, you give out turkeys and the kids bicycles and coats in wintertime. But one of those children's mothers died because they overdosed on, something he sold, or their boyfriend beat him up because he was high on something he sold. You know what I mean? So it's like you can't erase that. That there's no justification for it. There's zero justification.
Yeah, no, you're right, man. You're right. That's what I'm saying. That's why I ain't getting no answer in the beginning, man. I don't want y'all in the back end of the show talking about, man. But you said this. I'm processing it, man. I'm processing it in real time. All right, in real time. But Jonathan, let me ask you, man. Can you really, in this day and age, can you make it in society, in this capitalistic society? Can you make it as a black person or a black celebrity to a certain level without selling out a little bit? Can you do it?
Joe. Can you make it to a certain? I feel you can make it to a certain level. I don't know where that level exactly is, but if you don't sell out, then you're not going to, make those blockbuster numbers and get them super massive contract. I wish I knew exactly what that level was, but at the same time, like I think the flip of the coin is, but even in our own community, us as black, us as African American, we'll even support our people to a certain level. And then once they get to that certain level, then it's like that crabs in the bucket. It's like, hold on, wait. you know, Joe started Real You Consulting. I wanted to see him successful. He's successful now. But hold on, Joe. I'm a counselor too. I need clients too. I need some bread too. So what about that? Because I think that's one of the real challenges that we really need to focus on. Because I mean, to your point, I think yes, somebody could sell out. But I think the flip side of it is, what if they do sell out? But then what if they're using that, you know, using what they're learning, using some of that money, bringing it back to the community? Then what about that?
No, that's true, man. That's true. And you brought up something real, man. I'm like, if I see another counselor or therapist, I even bring them on my show and let them promote their own businesses on my show. Black male therapists too. So that's eating into, you know what I'm saying, my demographic. But you know what I'm saying? Like it's plenty of us, bro. Like I can't be that way. I want every single, you know, that man might say something that you really, really like or connect to, that makes you want to enlist his services and start your journey. That's one more black man being healed in the community. I don't look at it like it's one less black man for me to line my pockets with. You know, so like you saying something real right there, man. And it does bother me that people think like that, man. Especially, I mean, all of us have in some way, shape, or form try to run our own business, and you run up against, you know what I'm saying, the frustration that comes with the lack of support sometimes, especially within your own community, man. It's frustrating, man. It really is, man. But that what you just said kind of made me want to ask a quick little question for y'all, man, because we talking about the rise of the black celebrity, and it makes me think about the contrast between, you know, Kevin Hart and Cat Williams. So like, who would you rather be? You know, so I'm gonna just ask you that real fast, man. Who would you rather be, man? Cat or Kevin? Kevin seemed like, you know, he everywhere, bro. He selling anything and everything, and you know, sold his likeness to sell it. But he's getting blockbuster movies and whatnot. But Cat gets his own money. Cat does well, and Cat always gets love in the hood, man. It's hardly rare when you see a bunch of negativity getting thrown at Cat. That's my observation. Y'all see something different, you can tell me, but what would you rather be? I'm start with you, Jonathan. What would you rather be?
So for the glitz and the glamour, man, I think it's definitely Kevin Hart. But just to be true to morals and just to stand on business and just to be able to have ownership and be able to make more decisions, I'm gonna say Cat. I'm gonna say Cat on this one. Yeah, I'm gonna say Cat on this one.
Yeah. But you, Q.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I don't want to be neither one of them, but
Look, that's what I was thinking.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, that's
yeah,
real. Hey, just be real, man.
I ain't gonna lie though. Yeah, I'm leaning. I mean, I'm not. You know, and it's, you know, big ups to that man. Like I'm not really a big Kevin Hart fan, but I'm definitely a Cat Williams fan. I feel he relates more to me, but just for that reason, I would say Cat.
Yeah. Yeah, you feel the same way. I'm assuming Walt.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna have to disagree with Q, man. I don't want to be either of them, but I'm not a Kevin Hart fan either, and I have opinions that are rooted in opinion. You know, I don't know the man. I know he's a successful black man, so I applaud that. But
Yeah.
that's as far as that goes.
This man, it's Nas, man. Nas is King's disease, bro. When he came out with King's disease, I just started looking at cats like, oh, I see that now. I see a lot of cats with that King's disease, man, because you think you're rich and you got some money. You think like your opinion is it matters longer, way more than you put way more weight on your own opinion than you probably should, man.
Right.
So that kind of go now. It's not. I'm swaying back and forth, man. So now I'm kind of back with y'all, man, with the black celebrity, man. He might be the problem. He might be the problem, man. So man, it's tough. It's tough, man. I might have an answer by the end of the day, man. But you know, we kind of went back and forth about who's more dangerous. But let's take it a little bigger, man. We talking about individuals. We also have to ask, what's the bigger, what's the really the bigger force at work? Because we know how the drugs got in the hood, man. Hood Negroes don't have no planes. So we got government, but we also got mass media, my bad. We got the prison system, we got systematic racism, we got all these things that factor into the downfall or the damage done in the black community. So I guess when you think about black celebrity or the drug dealer, where does systematic oppression show up the most in these two situations? It's all part of the plan. Because Malcolm talked about it, right? Malcolm talked about the black celebrity a little bit. I believe he did. So Walter, where does it show up the most, man? In the drug dealer or the black celebrity?
It's a hard one. It's a hard one, Joe. Um, because the financial backing for both of those sides is great. Like both of
Mm.
those agendas, they're backed by large amounts of money. So I can't answer that. I'm gonna say maybe equally,
Yeah. But
because
it's part of the plan,
yeah,
right? The black
right, it's part
celebrity
of the plan.
is part of the plan,
Mm.
right? It's part of the plan. You got to get this guy to get up here and these guys aren't selling drugs, but they promoting it, right? Like you said about Future Q, he's not doing drugs, but if you in the streets or talking to young people for real, he really is responsible for a lot of people doing certain drugs. It's a fact. I don't want to
Right.
put that in that man like that, but I was a teacher, so I saw his influence firsthand, bro. I saw it. So what do you think, man? Who got the most who's more got the most systematic pressure behind him? The black celebrity or the black drug dealer?
Ooh.
Man. I don't know. You want to go, Doc?
Yeah, Jonathan, go ahead, man.
Bro.
You got to break out some.
Man, that's such a loaded question. That's such a loaded question, Joe. And
Yeah.
just as you're talking about, like the black celebrity, I can't help but think of like, how much money is in media and who owns all the major media companies, right? Because those individuals are the ones who can control what they're putting on the news, what they're putting on the television, what they're putting on the commercials. So, like really, really looking at that.
When they got okay, we know how the drugs systematically got in the hood. We all understanding of that, right? But when they got any type of black man that need to be taken down the peg, they pump that 100 million behind Stephen A. and they tell him, "Go get him, Stephen A. Knock that Negro off that pedestal. What is he doing up on that horse? Knock him off that horse." You know what I mean? So that's what it's all part of the plan, right? We get these guys and we give them a copious amounts of money to get on the screen and knock down our heroes.
Yeah, man. Like, let me chime in on that. Piggyback what you were saying, Joe. It's like it was like what we were saying about LeBron. Like LeBron really ain't got no blemishes, right? We got the good family, got a good amount of money. He don't really do nothing in the media that's wild. He plays good ball. But then you got those certain moments where it's like I feel like they punking them. Like for what reason? Like you at this point you probably like you halfway to a billion. You know what I'm saying? You got 500, 600 M's. Why are you doing a progressive commercial in a dress with a wig on? Like, even though, like, I'm not trying to say that that's bad or whatever, because we all know back in our day, like, that was just funny. We didn't think of it as any type of slave mentality. But nowadays, when you start to grow and realize, like, why, what was that for? Like, did you do something? And it was like, all right, if you do this, we ain't gonna mention it. Like, so for what reason are you in the dress and the wig in a progressive insurance commercial? Like the bag couldn't have been that much more than what you already had. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm not trying to judge that, man. I'm just saying it's like when we get somebody who we like standing strong behind, they always find a way to knock them down a peg.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Hey, and Jonathan, I know you got to go, man. So I'm gonna let you tackle this question or respond to that situation the best you can, or kind of give your closing thoughts on the situation.
Can you just restate the question again? I want to make sure I hit it.
I was just talking about how, what I'm saying, because I know you do a lot of things with around sports as well. So
Sure.
I mean, Stephen A. Every single time they wrote, hey, they get him, sick him, Stephen A. I want you to get out. I want you to get out here and knock this man off his peg, man. So when you hear that, man, does that kind of influence your response on who gets more systematic oppression put behind them? the drug dealer. Who does the colonizer like? Who does the colonizer influence more? I guess
The black celebrity.
100%.
I'm gonna say the black celebrity on this one. Just because one, they're writing the checks, but then even further in writing the checks, you know, they're the one like allowing this person to get here or bringing this person back down. You know, we can go down the line of, you know, some of the stuff that's happened with our heroes that we admired at the highest level. But then it seems like right before they're about to make a massive purchase that was about to shift some things for the culture, and it's like, hold on, wait a minute. And then all of a sudden, a tape comes out. All of a sudden, this recording comes out. All of a sudden, these women come out, and it's like, well, where was all this happening like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, or whenever? But you know, it's just like kind of stay in your place. If you can't stay in your place, then I'm gonna help you stay in your place type deal.
Yeah. Hey man, listen, I appreciate you joining us, man. I know you got to go do your own show. You know, man, thank you, man. I appreciate you as always, man. We got to do this more often, bro.
Most definitely. I appreciate you. Let a platform, guys. It was a pleasure chopping it up with y'all. And man, we'll stay connected for sure.
For sure, man.
For sure.
All right, John. Thanks a lot. Q, man, you make music, man.
For sure.
But you grew up on the same music, you know, like we all did. You grew up on the same music I grew up on, man. So how much responsibility are you putting into, you know, being conscious about the things you are putting in your music, man?
Man, I think a lot, man. Like I make it the forefront of what I do, man. Because I know it's already messages out there to poison us. You know, I did wrong too. You know, like I had my time while I was selling packs. You know, came back from a basketball tournament and they was like lined up in front of my mom's crib, and I was like, oh my gosh, she about to kill me. I'm like trying to get them away, and like that made me stop that. Like, and you know, like I haven't looked back since. So I put it forefront in my music to talk about more positive things and you know teachings and stuff that I learned, not gatekeeping information. So I try hard to do it, and now it's just became a natural thing. Like I don't even think about talking about nothing else but you know stuff that uplift black men and black people in general.
And I'm gonna ask both of y'all, man. I'm gonna start with you, Walt, man. Do you get uncomfortable now listening to the music we grew up on, man? Like sometimes when you playing in the car, you're like, that ain't it no more.
I'm not going to say that, man, because I appreciate it for what it is. But I would like to go a step further, man, and make a point that I was thinking about from earlier in the show about. So if we think about the music we grew up on, right, like you're talking about right now, and we think about pre West Coast, Eazy-E, NWA, those guys, those guys, right? The rap culture was a different culture. And if we really look at the way that things were laid out, the drugs that flooded the community, it wouldn't have taken hold the way that it did if they didn't come first with the celebrity rapper saying, this is what it is. This is what you should be doing. This is what we're glorifying. So I think that really speaks to the point, and also what Q was saying about putting positivity in the music. We can look at the influence back when we had Queen Latifah and we were talking about self-destruction, and we had Boogie Down Productions, and we had all of these people that made good, feel good, positive, uplifting music for the community. And all of a sudden that went away, crack took over. And now, if we listen to the music, like I'm like, is this for real? Like when my children, the things that they listen to, I'm like, man, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's not talent. But if that's what you call it, you know, but they're pumping ideas. That's it. Like Future, like he said, doesn't even do drugs, but he's pumping that lifestyle into the youth who are definitely doing the drugs that he's glorifying.
Yeah. Do we tolerate that because, you know what I'm saying, Easy really was about that? Or Ice-T, when he was talking, like he was really talking from, you know, experience and
But look at Ice-T. Where is he now? Like, what is he doing now? I'm come on, man. Come on. I mean, you know, sure, he had that moment in time. You know, when Ice-T cut his hair, I said, oh, he's not Ice-T anymore.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, it's a lot that comes with where he's at, and there's a lot of decisions he had to make, and leaving that behind was one of those decisions. So he made money, and people went to jail because he was saying "F the police" first before NWA said it.
Yep.
So, you know, people lost their freedom
Yeah.
listening to Ice-T, and now he's a police officer on television.
Yeah, that man Detective Tutuola right now. You right.
I'm saying, like,
That was jewelry.
But that man, Detective Tutuola, man,
For
he
real,
is
boy.
not kicking it at 6 in the morning. It's not going down anymore in his life, man.
Yeah, like we was talking about Rick Ross earlier. Like, fam was a whole correctional officer before Every Damn Hustling came out.
Yeah,
Like, you were a correctional officer. Now you talking about every day you hustling. Like,
right.
just don't go, bro. You doing it on purpose.
You're doing it on purpose, man. But what makes me mad is like, man, people love it, man. Like every single time somebody moves like this, man, people are like, I gotta get off social media, man, for a while, man. People just love it, bro. It just makes me mad. It's like makes me think like when the message came out, you know what I mean? Like, did we miss the message? Like, have y'all sat and watched the message and
Right.
what they was talking about, man? Like, this is crazy. Broken glass everywhere. You know what I mean? Like,
Needles on
it
the
was
corner.
important, right?
Yep.
It was just, and did we miss it? Did we miss the message, Q?
Nah, I think it that was that was more informational, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was like even though they was talking about drugs, that was more informational. Like, we need to fix this
Yes.
rather than I just cooked up a key and sold it in 5 minutes. Like, it's it's a difference. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, no. You're right, man. They was just reporting, like I said, first person perspective, man. Um, and it just kind of makes me like when I look at what's going on today, I might start leaning towards y'all perspective on it being a black celebrity, man. Because these days, like I'm not anywhere close to the streets or anywhere near it. I mean, I really wasn't in the streets as a youngster, but the streets are still right next to me, bro. Like you could see the guys, you know what I mean? Like the guys were right there, and you saw what they were doing, and you saw, how they were serving fiends and whatnot. It was a real thing, bro. Like, so I don't know if it because as a teacher, I can tell you, I observed a lot of. I mean, I didn't observe it, but like I knew it was a lot of drug dealing going on, like right in like a middle school, bro. Like they are selling drugs, but different kind of drugs. We're not doing crack and these things no more, rampant like that. So I don't know I don't. I mean, if y'all know, let me know. Like, I mean, is crack still popping like that, or what do y'all know?
I think drugs are just always gonna be popping, man. Like whatever, it's always gonna be somebody who chooses to do a particular drug that's available. So I don't think, any of the drugs will ever go anywhere. Like it's just like
But
heroin. Heroin's been around for, forever,
yeah,
and to that point, I think about the movie. I don't know if you guys have seen A Hero Ain't Nothing But a Sandwich. Have you seen
Oh
that,
yeah,
Joe?
for
yeah,
sure.
So that goes to the point about the drug dealer and the influence
mhm.
of the drug dealer in the community, like from way back then, right? And we're talking about this tonight. So it'll always be, man, I think, and people will always do whatever is available for them to do.
But does it still like cause the same destruction as that era? That's what I'm asking. Like the drugs that they doing today. I know people drugs are still prominent, but does it do the same thing that like when crack swept through the 80s? Like is it still like that?
I don't think so. I think that was kind of like COVID. You know what I mean? Like when crack swept through, it took a lot of lives, it took a lot of freedom, and messed up a lot of families. And not to say that any of the other drugs don't do that, but crack did it in a different and new way, because of the highly addictive nature of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it really swept through the community like wildfire, and it changed our culture forever, man. It changed, even our level of cognition. I think it changed because a lot of people came here addicted to crack cocaine,
Mm-hmm.
and that affects people for the rest of their lives, man. It's not just a hump they get over. So
Yeah.
Yeah, remember the term crack babies? Like you was
Sure.
passing that down through the bloodstream.
Right.
So yeah, that affected a lot of people.
So that's what I'm
Sure.
saying. Like, yeah, what Kool Moe Dee is saying at that time, like in his era, maybe he was right. Maybe the first sellout or the most dangerous out of these two situations was the drug dealer, but that day is gone. You know, back also at the time when just not even the fact that he was selling the drugs, but the image that the drug dealer was portraying made him a hero. You
Sure.
know, people growing up idolizing drug dealers, and they was making ridiculous amounts of money a day, but it was so many of them. I don't know if we even live in an era right now where you can have a bunch of drug dealers making 100 racks a day, stacking up and like living it the way they was. I don't know if you can, and they still moving like that, but I know cartels still exist. But does
Right.
the everyday street dealer building his enterprise, building his company from the ground up, does that kind of man still exist today? What you think, Q?
Nah, man, like I was saying, it's just not lucrative. Like if you look at any documentary, like you go on Prime and look at the documentaries of the biggest drug dealers, like I don't care if it's Frank Lucas or whoever, Rayful Edmond from DC, go look at the documentary and look at the timeline. They have like a 9 month run, maybe a year and a half, like even BMF, like 2, 3 years, but it's not. If you think about it, it's not a long time. Like it's a capsule. It's a big capsule where they probably was making this every day or every week, but it's not over a span of 10 years. But it's always somebody new that come and take over the game.
Yeah,
And when these people drop off like flies and go to jail for the rest of their lives,
yeah,
and leave back a harmed community.
you're
It's
right, man.
it's not it's not like that no more. And nowadays, uh, you know, from the celebrity standpoint, they're selling so much addictive misinformation is what my stance is, because the misinformation leads a kid to pop some pills, and now it's laced with fentanyl, and now you got kids being found in alleys and in a car just overdosed on drugs just because of misinformation. You thought you was gonna have fun, like you seen that video with and throwing money. You thought you was gonna have that, but instead you didn't overdose off one pill that you probably tried one time off
Yeah,
of misinformation.
yeah, yeah, 100%, man. So it's a little more dangerous, I guess, because they're getting them on the drugs younger. I don't mean, but that's then the influence of today's rap, man. But then
Yeah,
you see Big Meech get out and they love him.
love them.
We about to say something
Crazy.
more?
Yeah, man. And then you said something that also kind of tied in. Um, the drugs are different now, right? We're talking about drug dealers. The children have tablets and phones in their hands from the time they're this big, right? So you were talking about misinformation. That's a drug these days. The dopamine that they're peddling with scrolling and the addiction to doing this, they're peddling misinformation. So this is kind of a new drug that we're dealing with. And we all know people that are addicted to it, that cannot get out
Absolutely.
of their phones to save their lives. So I think that, like I said earlier in the show, man, we could literally talk about this for a couple of shows because it's like
It's
an
layered.
onion. It's
It's
Yeah.
layered.
multi-layered.
It's
Keep,
layered
keep peeling them back.
for sure. But I'm glad we had the conversation, man. I'm glad we sparked it. You know what I mean? You got some
Definitely.
things off our chest. This conversation, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we have it enough, and be honest about it. And like I said at the top, man, I don't want to excuse racism and systematic oppression for what it's done to our community ever. That is the number one culprit. All of this is because of that. All of these conversations are occurring because of that. And if you think something different, then I don't go to another show, because I ain't going back and forth with you, man. That's just how I feel because it's easier to point fingers, at individuals instead of like looking at the bigger picture. You know what I mean? But Man, before we wrap out, man, I just want you guys to, I want each of you guys to kind of, I don't know. I'm asking, I'm loaded up, man. You know, I like these loaded questions, Walt. But what's the real solution? Man? How do we break these cycles and start truly like uplifting the Black community? Like, from your perspective, your opinion, what can we do, Walt?
I think it starts with the individual, man. Um, the infection that we have in the community, especially like with the influence of rappers and drug dealers and all the like, is cancerous. And it's been killing us for a long time, man. But it's been proven that it's hard to come together with a group of people to try to start some movement to save our people from these things. So it starts with the individual. It starts with you, starts with me. Um, Not just in our circles, but making sure that we touch other people to not try, but to break these cycles. We all know how we can add to our communities. So we should just do that.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Q, what you got, man? How we fix it, Q?
Man, I'm gonna go with some jury that I've like I'm standing on since I've been on the pod with you, man. That unlearning, though, the unlearning those toxic traits, man. Like I think that's like where we started. Try to start unlearning, and then like piggybacking what Walt said too. You know, then starts with the individual, and instead of being cancerous, be infectious in a positive way. Like
Yes.
like you got your circle, like you can affect one person with positivity, he gonna take that somewhere else. I think that's where it starts at, man.
Yeah. I agree with you. I agree with both of y'all, man. Healing and education, man. Like that's where it's gonna come from. It does start with the individual, bro. We gotta, you can't go out there and call yourself conducting nothing if you're not right within. You know what I mean? Like, and we need every single brother, available to fight this situation, man. Like, you brothers are standing here having this conversation, and you carry this conversation to the other different conversations in other different rooms. You know what I mean? And kind of figure out kind of where guys' heads at. And it's all about healing and education, man. Planting them seeds, which is what we doing here, man. We always, at the end of the day, plant the seeds for brothers to go get some healing. Because they did a number on us, man. They did it. It's hard, man. It's hard stepping out every day as a Black man. There's so many challenges. And you're gonna get a couple coons that say, nah, man, you gotta get past that. It ain't really nothing. Racism ain't a thing. And okay, all right. Like I said, go to another show, man. I'm not doing that over here. We just talking like the real. You don't gotta be the end. Man, I don't believe in leaning on that as an excuse for every single problem that you have, or the reason that you can't get up and try to conduct yourself to do something better with your life. But it's a real thing. It happened, and it's still happening. And systematically, the plan is working the way it's supposed to work. Whether it's the drug dealer or the Black select, hey, the plan was flood the hood with drugs, and then you know what I mean. And then what's the outcome of that? We got the drug dealers are the heroes, and then what happens? Then the rappers become glorifying the drug dealers. And then what we did, what we go from there. Now the rappers are the heroes, and they glorify stuff and lives they don't even live half the time. You know what I mean? So hip hop, honestly, might have been headed in a direction that could have been healing for us all.
Yeah, like Walt said, man, like back in the day, like it was so much conscious music, you ain't have no choice but to feel good. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
but that got infiltrated, right? And it turned into whatever
Yeah.
going on now. You know what I mean? So it could have been, you know what I mean? Like it could have been the voice of the people. Especially when we they start knocking off our leaders, right?
Yep.
I mean, but at the end of the day, man, blaming the one group or another won't fix the problem. You know what I mean? What Walt is talking about is absolutely true. Accountability as the individual, self-awareness, changing the way we view power and influence and success in our community. Okay, we got to change that. Change what a real hero is. What Q mentioned earlier. Those guys that he mentioned earlier, those are the real heroes. It's time to redefine that and what it means to be a leader and a role model in our community, man, as often as we can. It's tough, bro. Like I said, I've sat in rooms with 20, 30 young men, and it is tough. It is really tough to engage them or to say anything that they care about. if you got an hour with these guys, you're gonna spend 40 minutes trying to break down the wall, and then you got to do what you got to do with them 20 minutes that you got left. I've done that several times over. But if we don't do it, hey, things are gonna work out in our favor. So if this conversation made you think, man, I want you to, drop a comment. I want you to share with a friend, have your own little conversations at home. Keep tapping in with us, man. We're gonna keep trying to have conversations that matter, that influence our little corner of the world. I really appreciate y'all joining me tonight, and show up
We
next week.
appreciate you having us, man.
Yes,
What'd you
sir.
say?
We
Yeah,
appreciate you having us.
for
Thank
sure,
you.
man. For sure, man.
Absolutely.
Next week, I don't know what the topic gonna be. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who's gonna be here. It's probably gonna be these guys again, man. Because I be hitting them like jump on the pod, man. Let's, because honestly, man, the stuff be so heavy, man. Like from week to week, sometimes I'm like, man, do I feel like doing this? But then I always remember how I feel when it's over. I feel like I did my part, and that's all I can do. And I hope y'all got that same feeling, like you're just doing your part, man. Contributing to the conversations that's gonna help get us out of here and planting these seeds so that brothers can go heal, man. And start doing things, because a healed black man is a powerful community. It's the most powerful community, man. A healed black man lifts us all the way up. All of us get lifted from that. All right. If you disagree with that, find another show. I'll see y'all next week. All right.
For sure.
Tapping in. Vulnerability is the new sexy. We out.
Peace.